Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Dobson. Welcome to Fundraising is Dead, the podcast where we expose the fundraising system that's failing you and show you what actually works. Got a great topic today. It is the myth of the big ask. You know what I'm talking about. The idea that successful fundraising comes from confidently walking into a room, meeting with a donor with deep pockets, and making a massive request. Now, maybe it's $1,000, maybe it's $1,000,000. The number doesn't matter, but for you and your organization, it's a big ask. And there are two other myths surrounding the big ask, and I want to dispel them right up front. The first one is this is what the pros are doing. The pros, they know how to walk into a room with confidence and guts. They've got charisma, presence and poise, decisiveness, persuasion, the ability to command respect in a room, and that is how the real pros bring in the big money. The second myth is if you want to be successful in fundraising, you have to learn how to do it. If you're a nonprofit leader or development director, a donor rep, you must master the big ask because that's how the real fundraising happens. Let me stop you right there. It's a lie. It is a myth. You don't have to make the big ask. And again, that's not what the real pros are doing. I've been watching this my entire life. I grew up in this world. I started going on donor trips with my dad when he started Focus on the Family in 1976. And let me tell you, I've seen what the real professionals do. So in 1976, Focus on the Family received its first major donation. It was $30,000, totally unsolicited, and that gift launched the radio broadcast nationwide. I can tell you, my dad never asked that man for $1. Not before, not after. We did become lifelong family friends, though. They attended my wedding nearly 30 years later. In fact, I still know the kids today. In the last 50 years, I have been on hundreds of donor trips. Hundreds of donor trips. But I've never once been on a fundraising trip. There's a huge difference. Let me tell you something that will shock you, and some of you won't believe this at all. From 1976 until 2011, when my dad left Focus on the Family, not one single Focus rep or my dad ever asked a donor for money. Not one time. There were no capital campaigns, no prospectuses, no $1,000,000 asks, no architectural drawings of new buildings. I know that's hard to believe. Actually, let me take that back. I'm wrong. It did happen one time. Let me tell you the tale of the short-lived rep. There was a guy, he was brand new, started off at one of the nonprofits back in the day. He figured out he had a mutual connection with one of my dad's friends, and this friend had a lot of money. So without telling anyone, the rep set up a meeting. He wanted to make a big impression when he started, and he was going all in. His plan? Make the big ask. Because remember, that's what the pros do, right? So he walks in, sits down, and asks for $1,000,000 today and a pledge for $5,000,000 more over the next 5 years. And he also requested use of this gentleman's private jet for whenever Dr. Dobson needed it for work. Woo, baby. That is a big ask. You want to know how it went? I bet you can guess. No money was donated. Not that day, not ever. My dad lost a good friend, and shortly after, the rep was fired. End of story. Now, for those of you that believe in the big ask, you might be thinking, well, he just didn't know the right words. He wasn't confident enough. If he had more charisma or more persuasion, if he had prepared better, he could have pulled it off. No, that's not what happened. What happened was he made someone, an individual, a person, feel like a bank account. And no one, no matter how much money you have, wants to feel that way. No one wants to feel used. And the second this guy felt like a dollar sign, he ghosted my dad. He wouldn't return calls, wouldn't return emails. Eventually, my dad's assistant got the real story, and that rep was fired on the spot. My dad, he felt sick. He immediately called his friend to apologize. Honestly, the damage was done. That's another secret no one's going to tell you. The more money you have, the lonelier you will get. You see, the more money you have, the more people will ask for it. The more people ask for it, the more you're going to have to say no. The more you say no, the angrier they will get, and you will isolate yourself, and you will get very, very lonely. So here's the real question. If the big ask isn't the secret, then what is? How did the buildings get built, Ryan? How did Focus come to be? Well, I can tell you that. I was there. I have a very unique perspective on it. This is a good story. The most visited and most famous building at Focus on the Family is the Visitor Center. It's huge. It has a theater, an art gallery, a gift shop. It's got a 3-story corkscrew slide that ends in Wits End ice cream shop from the Adventures in Odyssey. You can actually record your own episode of Adventures in Odyssey with your name in it and voice. So, here's the Welcome Center's origin story. My dad was driving to work, talking to a friend on the phone. This friend happened to be a billionaire. I'm going to tell you their story and how they met later. But they were talking, and this guy asked my dad, he said, "Hey, Jim, how's Focus doing financially?" And my dad said, "We're doing great, thanks." Let me tell you, that is something a billionaire has never, ever heard when he asks, "Do you need money?" I also know that virtually every other fundraiser out there will tell you when a billionaire asks if you need money, you say yes. Always say yes. There's always a new project. There's always a new building. There's always ground to be broken. But what if that's not the truth? Focus was doing well financially, so why lie? For money? Ew. That's just disgusting. That's gross. So he said, "We're doing fine, thanks." And then this man asked my dad, "What's your biggest challenge? What's the thing that's the biggest challenge at Focus on the Family today?" My dad said, "Honestly, I can tell you, hundreds of people keep showing up at our office every day expecting tours. We didn't know what to do with them." I asked my dad the story. It's true. More than 1,000 people a day started showing up at Focus on the Family, bringing their family, taking vacations, thinking someone was there. So he told the donor this. The donor thought about it, and a while later called back. He had the Welcome Center designed, built, and paid for without ever being asked. The real secret to fundraising success is when donors feel like family members and partners instead of bank accounts. And when they feel like your family, when they feel like your partner, there's nothing they won't do for you. That's how you build real donor relationships. Remember way back when, that first donation in 1976? That's about $170,000 in today's money. In the summers of 1979 and 1980, my dad and I went backpacking with him, his son, and a few other dads and their kids in Yosemite. It was a donor trip, not a fundraising trip. That trip was designed by Focus on the Family to help dads connect with their children better, not to ask them for more money. That was 45 years ago. 2 of the other dads on that trip just joined my dad's board last year. Think about that. Think about it for your ministry. 45 years of friendship, 45 years of laughter, 45 years of support, 45 years of trust, 45 years of being there in the good and the bad times, and it's still going. That's the secret to lifelong success. I said it last time, I'm going to say it again. It always comes down to gratitude and relationships. It will always be about gratitude and relationships.